They told you they loved you, looked you in the eyes, held your hand, maybe even cried with you. But now, the silence is louder than anything they ever said. The care, the concern, the affection, they vanished without warning. And the worst part? You're left wondering if it was ever real to begin with. Fake love is one of the most psychologically damaging forms of emotional manipulation because it mimics the real thing with precision. It doesn't just break your heart, it distorts your ability to trust, to perceive love, to recognize safety in relationships. But why do people pretend to care in the first place? What's the motive behind faking something as powerful, intimate, and vulnerable as love? To understand fake love, we have to peel back the layers of human psychology. We have to explore the deep needs people have to be seen, to be validated, and yes, to be in control. Real love is selfless, but fake love is transactional. It mimics real connection only long enough to extract something from you, whether it's validation, control, financial support, sex, status, or simply the comfort of not being alone. And most of the time, people who give fake love don't even realize they're doing it. That's what makes it dangerous. Fake love isn't just lying, it is emotional theater, playing the role of someone who loves deeply while holding back everything that makes love real. Vulnerability, accountability, empathy, effort. Let's look at the psychology that drives this kind of performance. At the core of fake love is emotional manipulation. People who pretend to care often suffer from a fractured identity, unresolved trauma, or a chronic need for external validation. They've learned to survive by managing other people's perceptions of them, not by building true intimacy. So instead of forming genuine bonds, they form attachments built on control. This is especially common in people with narcissistic traits. For them, love is a mask, not a mirror. They reflect what you want to see. They read you, your hopes, your insecurities, your emotional gaps, and then shapeshift into exactly what you need. Not because they love you, but because they need something from you. Attention, admiration, submission. It's a tactic called love bombing. At first, you're flooded with praise, affection, and overwhelming attention. You feel chosen, special, seen. But once they feel secure that you've attached to them emotionally, the affection dries up. What replaces it is distance, gaslighting, criticism, and indifference. That's the moment you realize the love was never real. It was a hook. But it's not always about power. Sometimes people pretend to care simply because they're terrified of being alone. They don't know how to be honest about their emotional needs, so they overcompensate. They fake commitment. They fake interest. They fake connection, all to avoid confronting their own emptiness. These are people who have learned that it's safer to pretend than to be honest. And then there are those who don't even know they're doing it. They've confused the feeling of love with the benefits of love. They love how you make them feel, but they don't love you. They love the attention, the security, the emotional labor you provide. But the moment you stop being useful, the illusion shatters. This is why fake love always has conditions. They care when it's easy. They show up when they're getting something in return. But when you need support, patience, or understanding, they vanish. Because love to them was never a choice. It was a transaction. And yet, fake love hurts just as much as real heartbreak. Maybe more. Because what you're grieving isn't just the loss of a person, it's the loss of a story. A story you thought was mutual, a future you thought was shared, and a connection you thought was safe. Fake love leaves psychological scars because it causes cognitive dissonance. Your brain struggles to reconcile how someone who once claimed to care so much could treat you with such disregard. That internal conflict leads to self-blame. Maybe I misunderstood. Maybe I was too much. Maybe I made it up. This is where the real damage happens, not just to your heart, but to your perception of reality. People who fall for fake love are not foolish. In fact, they're often the most emotionally intelligent. Why? Because they believe in the potential of others. They see the good. They love deeply. They're patient, compassionate, and hopeful. But those very strengths can be weaponized by someone who knows how to perform affection without embodying it. This is why it's so important to understand the tactics of fake love. Not just the behaviors, but the psychology beneath them. Let's talk about a few of those signs. One of the most common is emotional inconsistency. One day they're warm, attentive, and affectionate. The next, they're distant, cold, or irritated by your presence. This keeps you in a state of confusion. You become addicted to the highs and lows, constantly chasing the version of them that made you feel alive. This is not love. It's intermittent reinforcement, a powerful form of psychological conditioning used in everything from gambling to cults. It makes you bond harder when you should be pulling away. Another sign is surface-level vulnerability. They'll tell you just enough about their past to seem open, but they never go deep. They'll share stories that evoke sympathy but avoid real accountability. This creates a false sense of closeness. You feel like you know them, but what you really know is a curated version of their story. Then there's performative affection. Public displays of love, over-the-top gestures, constant texts. But when you need them privately, emotionally, or in times of conflict, they shut down. They care when it's convenient or performative, but not when it's difficult. That's not real love. That's image management. But perhaps the most telling trait of fake love is avoidance of emotional responsibility. When you express hurt, they minimize it. When you need clarity, they deflect. When you ask for effort, they withdraw. Because they don't want the work of love, they want the appearance of it. So why do we stay in these situations? Why do people stay even after they see the signs? The answer is both emotional and biological. When you connect deeply with someone, even if the love is fake, your brain releases bonding chemicals like oxytocin and dopamine. These create powerful emotional attachments that override logic. You don't just miss them, you crave them. You become chemically addicted to the version of them you experienced at the beginning. Add to that any childhood trauma, abandonment wounds, or insecure attachment styles, and now you're not just in love, you're in a loop. A trauma bond. You start to confuse intensity with intimacy, chaos with passion, uncertainty with excitement, and that's exactly what fake love feeds on. The ambiguity keeps you engaged, the unpredictability keeps you hopeful, and the brief moments of affection feel so intense that you ignore the long stretches of neglect. It's not that you don't see the truth, it's that your nervous system is dysregulated. You've been trained to find comfort in emotional inconsistency. So what do you do? How do you begin to heal? You start by rewriting the story, not about them, about you. You stop asking why they lied, and start asking why you accepted less than you deserve. You stop wondering whether they ever loved you, and start learning what real love looks and feels like in the absence of manipulation. Because real love is consistent. It's not always exciting, but it's safe. It shows up, it listens, it holds space, and it doesn't punish you for having needs. Most importantly, real love is mutual. You don't have to beg for it. You don't have to decode it. You don't have to earn it by shrinking yourself or overextending. And if someone made you feel like love was something you had to win, that wasn't love. That was control dressed up in kindness. And this is the part that stings the most, not the betrayal, but the realization that you were never truly seen in the first place. The version of you they loved was crafted in their own mind. It wasn't real. They mirrored back what you wanted to see just long enough to gain your loyalty, then withdrew as soon as the illusion served its purpose. That withdrawal isn't random. It's calculated. It's a pullback designed to trigger your abandonment wounds, to keep you emotionally hooked, to make you work harder for crumbs. This tactic often creates a trauma bond. The highs feel euphoric, but the lows are soul-crushing. And that inconsistency is what keeps you coming back. Your nervous system starts confusing chaos for connection. Many of those who dish out fake love are emotionally unavailable themselves. They may appear confident, charming, even attentive at first, but they often lack the capacity to form deep, lasting bonds. Some are so disconnected from their own emotions that faking love becomes second nature. They aren't necessarily evil. Some are just emotionally fragmented, functioning from survival patterns they learned long ago. Still, their dysfunction doesn't excuse the harm they cause. What makes it even more sinister is how convincingly they mimic care. They study your emotional language, your wounds, your dreams. They use that knowledge to present a counterfeit version of love, one tailored to feel safe, familiar, even healing at first. But over time, the mask begins to crack. Promises made fade into silence. Empathy turns into cold indifference. Support becomes a tool for control. By the time you recognize the pattern, you're often deep in emotional debt, questioning your own worth. That's the poison of fake love. It doesn't just hurt you, it makes you doubt yourself. You begin to wonder if you were too much, too needy, too difficult. You retrace your steps, searching for the moment it all fell apart, as if love should be this hard to hold. But real love doesn't vanish when it's inconvenient. Real love doesn't turn away when you're vulnerable. It doesn't punish you for needing closeness or turn tenderness into leverage. Real love sees you. Fake love sees what it can take from you. What makes this more psychologically complex is that many people stuck in cycles of fake love aren't simply victims. They're reenacting old emotional scripts. They confuse pain with passion. They believe love must come with suffering because that's what was modeled for them. And so they chase after what feels familiar, even if it's toxic. This isn't weakness. It's trauma trying to find resolution through repetition. Unfortunately, fake love thrives in these spaces. It preys on unresolved pain. It tells you this time will be different, that you can fix them, that your love is enough to make someone change. But that's the trap. The more you give, the more they take, until there's nothing left of you but the pieces you abandoned just to keep them interested. Eventually, you learn. Not all at once, but gradually. You start to see how love shouldn't feel like performance. You begin to realize that genuine connection is quiet, steady, consistent. It doesn't sweep you off your feet only to drop you when your guard is down. You stop chasing intensity and start craving peace. That's the shift. It's painful, but it's powerful. And it begins with recognizing fake love for what it is. A performance, a manipulation, an echo of real connection but never the real thing. This kind of awakening often leads to a period of deep self-reflection. You start to ask questions you once avoided. Why did I stay? Why did I believe them? Why did I ignore the red flags? The answers aren't always easy to accept. Sometimes it's because you were raised to accept emotional scraps. Sometimes it's because the fake love mirrored something you never got as a child: attention, validation, the illusion of safety. And sometimes it's just because you loved someone who never truly existed. Healing from fake love isn't about blaming yourself. It's about reclaiming the parts of you that were abandoned to keep the illusion alive. It's about learning to differentiate between words and actions, between affection and manipulation. It's about understanding that you deserve the kind of love that doesn't require you to shrink, to chase, to earn. The kind of love that isn't rooted in performance, but presence. And most of all, it's about learning to give yourself the care you once begged someone else to give you. You stop romanticizing potential and start honoring consistency. You begin to listen more to energy than words. You notice when someone shows up with authenticity, not just charm. And most importantly, you become less available to anything that feels confusing, forced, or one-sided. Because once you've felt the sharp edges of fake love, real love doesn't just feel good. It feels safe, grounding, and liberating. It doesn't leave you guessing. It lets you exhale. The irony is, those who give fake love often fear being truly seen. Vulnerability terrifies them. And so they control the narrative. They keep the connection surface level, even if it looks deep. They deflect intimacy with charm or sex or silence. But real love demands emotional presence, and that's something fake lovers can't sustain. So they perform care, mimic concern, offer fragments of attention, all while withholding their true selves. That's why it feels so empty, so disorienting. It's like being held by a hologram. And once you recognize this, the spell starts to break. You begin to trust your own gut again. You stop justifying behavior that leaves you feeling hollow. You stop chasing people who only show up when it's convenient. You start honoring your own capacity to give, to love, to be loyal, and you reserve it for those who can truly meet you there. Not with grand promises, but with small, consistent acts of emotional truth. Because that's where real love lives. Not in the illusion, but in the everyday, unglamorous, beautiful act of showing up for each other. No pretending, no performance, just presence. And maybe that's the final lesson. Fake love teaches you what you never want again. Real love teaches you what you always deserved.